Welcome everybody to the Anti-Stall Racing IMSA series. We're here for round 7 of the championship. We're at Monza, the famous speedway in Italy, the home of Italian motorsports, the home of Ferrari in one sense. And there are some Ferraris on the grid here today in GT3. We're expecting a dry race after the essentially rained out race in Silverstone last time around. I'm joined today by Steve Halewood for commentary in qualifying, and I think we'll be having Niels Uleman join us for the race broadcast. We're about to go into qualifying. There's 26 seconds remaining on practice, so I think we're expecting an exciting qualifying session, as it often is around Monza. Steve, what are you looking forward to in today's race?
Well, guys, it's Monza, isn't it? It's the Monza. It's just everybody looks forward to Monza. High speed, fast corners, slow chicanes. I'm sure they're all excited down in the pits at this moment in time with that nervousness, because you just don't know the outcome at Monza, do you? It's one simple mistake ruins a race. So I think it's going to be, fast paced, and I think it's going to be incident packed, hopefully for the good. But I'm sure there's going to be a few tears throughout this race. But it's Monza, yeah. Come on, bring it on.
Absolutely. Always thrilling qualifying around here, and then in the race you've got that huge straight with a massive toe down into the heavy braking zone of turn 1, and turn 1 is another topic that we'll come to at some point in qualifying and discuss how we think that's going to play out in the race. Now, GT3 obviously will be going out first in this session. As usual, 12 minutes of qualifying for the GT3 class, which will be followed by another, not 12 minutes, 14 minutes of qualifying for the GT3 class, followed by a 2-minute interval period where the checkered flag will fall for GT3s, and then we'll see the green flag go for GTP, or hypercar as some call it, on the 16-minute mark. Now, we've had an interesting season so far. It's been very competitive at the top end of GT3 Pro. Casper Ummerland's currently leading the championship by around 150 points to Matteo Ubertali. Casper did not score very well in Silverstone, and Matteo did not score very well in Imola. So we have added an additional drop round that was decided by race control and the management team, that we needed that this season after the wet race in Silverstone caused a few disconnects for people, but we didn't want to completely discount the race from the championship because some people still drove very impressive races in the rain. So it's going to be really tight in the top of all of the classes. We've got a couple of people on out laps, a couple of people now will be going on to hot laps a little bit. We're watching cars coming through the Ascari chicane now, where this camera angle doesn't seem to be giving us much view. Daniel Morphy has had some good, impressive qualifying sessions so far this year in the Pro class. He's been up near the front. He currently sits P4 in the Pro Championship, the highest placed BMW, and saying that the only BMW in the championship. So doing an impressive job for that class so far. We've got a couple of people starting laps, and Casper Ummerland is going to be the first one through. Steve, do you want to talk us through this lap?
Yeah, so we're going into that first turn there with the chicane in nice and quick. Got to point it in the right direction, get it out early. Now flat out coming into the next set of corners. He's going to fling it into this corner, hug it nice and tight, try and keep that accelerator down, and he's going to keep a clean exit without drifting too far to the left to keep his line into the next corner. So he's going to heavy onto the brakes now into the chicane. Going to drop into the first curb, try and run over the second, catching the car, not catching the rear, and then flooring it again. So we're going to come into the 100 barrier, we're going to drop down, and we're going to slowly glide it through to get a lovely exit. And puts his foot down, run wide, take the AstroTurf with you, and then nice heavy onto the brakes, point it in again, take the curb and put it flat out. Coming into the last awkward chicane on the exit of the fast turns. He's just gonna. This is the tactical part of the race now, isn't it? You're trying to get your draft, you're trying to get your fuel safe. People play behind the car in front, hard onto the brakes. Again, throw it into the second, get a ride off the second set of curbs, and then you go into the exit and flat out into the last corner. That's always tricky because you get a tiny little kick on the back. As you floor that, you've got the AstroTurf. It can be a bit slippy, and you can drag the car around. And before you know it, you're hitting the barrier on the left-hand side. Coming into the last corner, take it nice entry, keep it balanced on the throttle, no heavy braking, get a lovely clean exit, run it wide out onto the left, and then we go for the finish line. So it's a fast lap, it is, and it's a very tactical circuit. Most people will play for the draft, but we were talking about turn 1 there. Turn 1 is going to be the interesting one with cold tyres. You know, you just got to bide your time with this circuit, and you know, that's a nice first lap there from Umelen there. We'll start to see some more purple sectors, I think, as the tyres warm.
Yeah, absolutely. So Casper Umelen sets the pole time at the moment. The margin for the other cars to follow, Matteo Bertali was in P2, he's actually in P3 now. So Daniel Morphy goes to P1 there with a very impressive lap time, 2 times clear of the rest of the field.
Yeah, there's you can see those tyres warming up now. The purple sectors are coming in. That is a really clean lap there from Daniel, and that's not going to be far off, I think, where pole's going to sit. You know, the very low 148s. I don't think we're going to see that beaten by much more. We might get close down to a flat 148. I'm just gradually looking at some of the sectors coming in. No more purples at the moment, so I think everybody's going to be lining themselves up for another nice clean run.
Absolutely. I think we'll have the teammates working together as well. That's important to note for the tow. We'll try and throw the track up there. You can see how everyone's sort of staying in one big pack and perhaps trying to jostle for a tow. We saw that a couple of years ago here in Formula 1, where a lot of cars didn't even make the flag, and I think there's a little bit of a risk we'll see that today, particularly in the GT3s. You want a big tow from another car, possibly a teammate. That's where we'll see those multi-car teams come to fruition. Daniel Morphy then, like you said, a very impressive lap time. That puts him P1 as it stands. Casper Umelen in P2, occupying the front row with him. Then we've got Paolo Antonori and Matteo Bertali in P3 and 4, and then Daniel Maggioni in P5. So the Italians lining up 3rd, 4th and 5th on their home soil at the moment. As I say about Paolo Antonori, goes a little bit quicker than Casper Umelen, but it's still not enough to compete with Morphy. BMW seems very happy around here, perhaps able to take a little bit more of the sausage curbs through the chicanes, do we think, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're just watching a little bit of the Porsches come through there, and if you get that rear angle, you can just see they're very unsettled with the throttle. I'm not a massive GT3 racer. I used to do a lot more than the touring cars I do now. And Monza's always a popular circuit, and it was, you know, I used to be in the McLaren, and McLarens were very much the same around here. The bounce, you don't get that flatness in the car as you've seen with the BMW, and the AMG used to be the same. It was lovely. It used to catch the curb and drop, and you used to be able to get the throttle down. With these, with the Porsches, it's not looking like they can get that rear end settled enough on the exits.
You can see the Porsches here from the same team giving each other a tow down the straight, so they know how to try and set a better lap time around here, and maybe they need that to go a little bit better. While we were talking, Daniel Morphy went up to Daniel Morphy improved his time to secure that P1 by another couple of hundredths over Paolo Antonori. He'll probably have another go, at least another couple of runs probably before the end of the session, so there is still sort of a little bit of time for people to get that eye in. Casper Umelen is about to come across the line, I believe, and he does. He improves to P1. There you go.
There's the flat 148, yeah. So there's that one flat. And it was interesting as well, because when Daniel set that, Casper and Antonori on the previous lap got to within a few thousandths of a second of that initial time, and then Daniel pumped it in. But just looking at the sector times there, sector 2 and especially sector 2, Casper smashed it by probably close to 4/10 over everybody else in the field. So yeah, that's an uber lap time, and only 6/100ths setting the time there between Daniel and Casper. Could be an interesting race.
I believe Sector 2 is essentially just the chicane and Lesmo 1, so if you can take a lot of curb through there, that'll benefit you quite significantly.
What's interesting is looking a little bit back down the field, even as an overall picture at the moment, from 1st to 9th, we've got 7/10. You know, but 7/10 for 10 places is excellent. You know, you can tell it's that fast circuit where people are able to get a little bit more time, and it's just down to that skill of catching the car. But then we drop down further than that, and we're starting to see a little bit of a gap out. But we're 2 seconds all the way down to 18th, so that's pretty impressive. It's always nice to see the AMG on the circuit. It's got to be my favourite GT3 car still. That. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, it's awesome to see it.
Yeah, this is the car of Matteo Blotto, new to the series, so we're just making sure now that he's been added to the standings. He's a little bit late to joining the session, so there you go. Should get a little bit of a refresh of the on-screen graphic, and then we'll see the driver. And no, still showing the incorrect name. But yeah, the only AMG, I believe, driving in the session, the only AMG we've had all season driving in the session.
Yeah, and yeah, it's still the thing. You know, I'm okay on the Porsche, but even still to this day, the AMG is off the pace in general to the guys that are quick, to the aliens. But I always seem to find a little bit more time in the AMG than the GT3s for me. I think it's just the kind of car I like to drive.
Yeah, as you say that as well, he goes up to P3, so yeah, it's not slow.
No, it's not. He's done well there.
I do agree with what you mean. The AMG is a little bit like the BMW is to drive. Very good over the curves, and with it being front engine, they're very easy to control. And you're much less likely to get that significant oversteer that you get from having more weight towards the rear. So there's a lot of weight on the front axle, which really helps. It means it's not quite as pointy, but able to be much more consistent, I think, in the race as well.
It's that bounce. If you watch him here and take the curb in the exit of the hairpin, the front, when you watch the Porsche, the front of the Porsche jumps up in the air, so you get that bounce back down. The AMG doesn't launch into the air so much, so your car's flatter to the ground quicker. It's a little bit harder to get the power out of it, but you can get a quicker drive on the line. So yeah, one day I may have one in my garage. You never know.
There you go. More P sets a significantly improved lap time, puts him up to P1 by 2.5 tenths, so regains provisional pole position in the class. Looks like those cars that can take the curbs are able to perhaps cut a little bit more in the chicanes. Lots of sausage curves around here in Monza, and even when they're not sausages, they're pretty high. So perhaps these two cars able to use a lot more of the chicane and almost straight line. Let's go on board. As he goes through the chicane.
And that is a really awesome time at 1:47. Casper's just gone in there with a 1:47.9 as well, so that is tremendous. I didn't think we were going to see much broken with the 1:48 flats there, so yeah, it's made me eat my words on that one. That's awesome.
Stefan Bestra coming through the ever so famous Parabolica in the Porsche. He's set a couple of greens and one purple in sector 4, so what can he do when he comes to the line? I don't think it's going to be good enough for the front row, but it's going to boost him up a little bit, you'd expect. Oh, there you go. Only shy of the front row though. Big improvement up to P3 in the Porsche.
The old Tifosi fans aren't going to be too happy out there at the moment with there are only two cars sitting very low down the order, so let's see those red flags flying much today.
Yeah, they were doing a little bit better at the start of the session, so let's hope there's improvements to them. Casper Ummerlin with a yellow sector 1, but it's not a slow sector 1, it's just a yellow sector 1. It is still pretty quick. And then 17.7, which is a purple sector 2, and then a relatively average sector 3. But what can he do? With a lot of curb there. Audi takes it quite nicely. It bounces him off, but he uses all of the runoff to his advantage. It's going to be key to see what the time is when he comes to the split line into the Parabolica, and he goes purple then in sector 4. So yellow, purple, what can... Oh, and he's had that purple sector taken away by Matteo Blotto in the AMG Mercedes, but what can he do on the run to the line? Cuts back across using the iRacing line there, shortest run to the line, and it is an improvement. It gets him closer to pole position, but it's not enough to dethrone Daniel as we stand. Matteo here.
Yeah, he's coming yellow, purple, yellow, and his timing is looking okay for sector 4. I don't think it's going to be a purple, but it's a PB, so we don't know. Let's see what he can do in the last sector. Let's see if he can get on the into the top 3. I think he's going to. I don't think he's going to get to that P1 or P2, but he's got a good chance here of matching or bettering Stefan. And here he goes. Yep,
P3.
There he goes. He's just pipped him by 3 100ths there. So, yep, nicely done there from Matteo. It was a tidy lap when you watch that through.
Checkered flag for GT3 qualifying, so anybody that's on a lap will be allowed to complete that lap, but nobody will be able to go again. Let's follow Daniel Maggioni. You can see some tyre marks there from someone that's ended up in the gravel. We missed that. I think there'll be a review from Race Control on the lap time of a couple of drivers who perhaps are a little bit off the pace, and we'll see that message come through for anybody that isn't allowed to start the race. But right now, eyes on Daniel Maggioni. It's green, yellow, yellow, so nothing significant, it looks like, going to come from him, and in fact he's pulling over because he knows he's not going to improve. Perhaps the off track that is very easy to get in Variante Ascari. GCP now lining up in the pit lane. There are still a couple of drivers to come across the line in GT3 though. Casper Ummerlin is about to finish his lap time, but I don't think it's going to be an improvement, and it's not very far off the pace. I wonder if he was just getting a feel for the track as late into the session as he could. Obviously quite difficult for the GT3 drivers. They've got to now sit around for 15-16 minutes before they can get into warm-up, and obviously another 5 minutes in after that until the race. So all GT3 cars all GT3 entrants are in the correct car. That means everybody will be scoring points in this session, which is what we like to see. There are still a couple of cars out on track, but I don't know if either of them are going to be able to set a line that time. So while Cohen's going for it, so he must be on for a valid lap time. He's saying he's done a 3:53, so he'll need to pull over now, he would have thought. I'm hoping he's got the message from Race Control that we are checkered flag. But he's still sending it into turn 1, so Race Control will probably be on the radio in a minute asking him to pull over. And Lawrence Van Stryland pulls into the pit lane. Green flag for GTP.
I think Cohen will be getting a message very shortly from Race Control, because I think he's still going at this moment in time. Whether he's just trying to get a bit of practice in or not, those GTPs will be closing in on that number 55 rapidly, so let's hope he decides to pull over before they reach him, or he could be in for a little bit of a talk with Race Control. Yep, there's the investigation, I think, just going out, so oops-a-daisy there, Cohen. I think he's finally pulling over to turn off.
Had the message from
be too harsh on him.
Race Control, so only took the checkered flag one, so probably will get away with it. So, GTP then, we've had a pretty interesting season so far. Very close title fight in GTP Pro as well. Only 52 points separating the leaders at the minute, and that'll obviously change slightly depending on where we are. That is presuming that Matthias Winton is able to start the race, and I can tell you what, he is. He got DSQ'd in practice by the sim for rolling back in the session, but he's been un-DSQ'd, so clearly that disqualification in-game only applying to the practice session, so he's going to get to actually carry on his title challenge, hoping to retain the title. Steve, I know you can agree with me here and attest to this. He was absolutely dominant in the early parts of Anti-Stall Racing's IMSA series, so basically seasons 1 through 5, seasons 1 through 4, sorry, and he's been dominant at points this year, but he's also tripped up a little bit more than he would have wanted to so far this season, and I think that's going to really start to hurt him in these final 2 rounds. He's going to feel the pressure of trying to catch up with his teammate as well, only 11 points behind him.
Yeah, I mean, it's stunningly is a kind of a turn of fortune. You know, whether that's we've had some really good drivers join the ASR League he's had a couple of really unfortunate incidents. He had one where he chose to sort of go wide over someone, ran off the track, and ended up getting into a lot of trouble. And I think two races in a row, he did get a DNF. So we know he's got it in him, but it's just, I don't know, maybe he's trying a little bit too hard. It's always difficult to kind of put a pinpoint on, but hopefully he can redeem himself in the close part of the season and see where he ends up. But it's always nice to see someone else, pick up the trophy and bring the challenge to you. Being coming up the ranks within the TCR series when we were running that, we had Brandon, who was absolutely, he was unbeatable to some extent, and I got gradually closer and closer to him, and it was good then because he stepped your game up, and Brandon was just tremendous in it. So let's see what the GTPs can deliver today.
So 33 flat seems to be the current sort of target, there or thereabouts. Mateus has been the quickest so far around the lap, so where does that time put him? Well, I said 33 flat, he's just going to set a 32.478, so that is the new target for the rest of the field. Albert Preem is about to come to the line. He's got a purple sector. He's probably the most likely to be able to challenge that lap from Mateus. Looks very dominant right now, and I tell you what, he gets within 3.5 tenths, but he's going to need to find a little bit more to take pole position away from his fellow Dutchman.
Yeah, we've got some green sectors out there. I think those times, I think you're going to see them tumble a little bit more. Yeah, I think that you're probably going to see just sub 132s could be a target time once the tyres are up to temperature and people find their groove. But we know Mateus and Albert will be setting some fast times up there, and a few more practice laps we'll start to see a little bit more reality, but still waiting for a few more purples. Ooh.
Albert Preem finding the wall on that second lap. So we talked about Mateus trying to challenge for the trophy this season, but this is the man he's trying to challenge, Balaz, who's currently down in 12th position and the second slowest car that's set a lap time so far. And I tell you what, it's looking like a right handful through Parabolica. He's going to cut back across for that short run to the line. And what's it going to be? Can he improve? Because he really needs to improve. And I'll tell you what, he does. The only driver within a tenth of Mateus. It didn't take him long. There must have been a mistake on lap 1, because he's gone and shown that he can indeed challenge the man that we consider to be dominant. And I can tell you what, we are now joined by Niels Uleman in the commentary booth as well. Steve, if you don't mind, we'll keep you here for the rest of the qualifying session, then you can head back over to the stewarding booth for the race. Ule, I'm not sure if you're with us. You're on mute if you are, but there we go, he's here. So I'm sure you've been here for most of GTP qualifying, and what are you thinking so far? How are you looking forward to the race at Monza today?
Yeah, I've been here for most of GT3 as well. Just listening to you two talk about it. It's, yeah, well, you mentioned it yourself. It's a drag race. Pretty much most of the qualifying session, you're quite depending on people towing you around, especially at the start and also the final straight. So nothing is done yet. Just like every other qualifying session, you still see people like Sean Paul Seaman, sorry, P18 currently, but got a purple sector, 2 purple sector actually. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a toe and a good in that lap and the corners, and then you're on pole. It's not much separating anybody really. P1, P2, but then half a tenth, almost at least. So nothing is set yet.
Yeah, I think the slipstream is going to be valuable in this class, just as we said it was in the GT3.
3-4 purple sector.
He gets to pole position by half a second. He was only about a second behind Robin Duhamel, who was trying to set his lap time. So maybe got a little bit of a toe on the run into Parabolica and the run to the line. But I tell you what, no toe is worth that much, and that is going to scare Mateus and scare Balaz. Can they get even close to him in this session? Because that would be the question. Now, how close can you get to that lap time? Not necessarily can you beat it.
Half a second. Someone pushing there really hard. 67th car.
Matisse.
Oh, Matthijs with a little bit of a purple sector there at the beginning. 2 greens. Not enough to challenge Jean-Paul that much, but he goes beneath the 2/10 mark. So he's getting significantly closer than he was before. Takes 3/10 off his time. But yeah, half a second. Where do you find half a second? You can find it in the toe on the 3 straights, pretty long straights. But you got the first chicane, you got the second chicane, the 2 Lesmos. But that's really about it. You don't find that many 10 through Ascari. Maybe a little bit in Parabolica, so yeah, it's not many places you can find it. It's not like a lap around. I can just say Nürburgring, for example. We had the 24-hour race last weekend, where if you just find half a tenth in each corner, suddenly you're out 10 seconds. It's rather ridiculous compared to something like this. Really, really difficult for the drivers.
Yeah,
let's just turn on. You can see, yeah, gets a little bit of a snappy oversteer there. I didn't really see it was one of our
Albert Preem, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, Albert Preem. Yeah. So really, you can throw it out in the first chicane. Then your lap is ruined. It's a pretty long lap. It's 1.5 minute. The GTPs that is. Then you have the outlap, of course, as well. You don't want to push the tires too hard on your outlap. Not really sure how you do on these kind of track. We talk about it on something like Watkins Glen. When you go out, you have a little bit of a warm-up lap, and then you have yet another warm-up lap. Actually, I wanted to say that you have an out lap and then a warm-up lap. So 2 laps you spent just getting the tires up to temperature. But if it matters that much in a track like this, where you have straights, of course, matters in the corners. You can save a lot of time there, but if you can get a good toe, I think that's worth at least as much as a hot set of tires.
Yeah, I think the toe probably the most valuable thing around here. We saw a lot of the multi-car teams using that in the GT3 class, as Patrick Zavassi goes up to P5, the highest, I was going to say the highest ranked Italian, but he's not. Balas is in P3, the highest Italian at his home race, second home race of the season. We of course ran in Imola earlier, but we're here at Monza, the Temple of Speed, and I'll tell you what, Jean-Paul Seaman is really praying at the Temple of Speed today, because he's set 2 purple sectors, sector 1 and sector 2. Let's go on board. Does he have a toe? He doesn't even have a toe. He's just incredibly quick into the Ascari chicane, and the Acura looks beautiful through here. It's turning very well, and he rotates it perfectly. Just avoids a sausage, but nails the rest of the curb. Run down into Ascari now. You want to brake as late as possible and carry as much speed. A Parabolica corner like this, a complete hairpin. The apex is in a slightly odd place, and he's going to apex early, and then you want to use as much of his runoff as you can without getting the off track. And then once the car's happy, turn in, rotate, over rotate to cut the run to the line short. We've seen people set identical lap times in these sessions before, but he doesn't improve a slightly slower couple of sectors.
Slower.
200. So weird, he had such a good run at the start of the lap, and then it sort of dropped off.
But he could have a lot of drag there. You saw, of course, some of the Ascari goes into the, I think it's the second to last sector that we see. So could have lost a little bit as well. Didn't look too clean, look really fast, especially on the exit. But if you don't have a drag on the last bit of straight, and you're only up just by, I don't know, 100th, then you can lose all the time that he lost out to his current pole time. Just want to mention, I think you said that Balazs is Italian.
Yeah, Balazs.
I mean the colors look right, but the orientation of the stripes is a little off.
You are correct. I could be wrong then. Does not.
I don't know. I've not asked him about his.
I realise we may very well have offended somebody there.
Yeah. I want to correct
because the flags are the wrong way around. David Pavaro is the highest ranked Italian in this session. Please discard anything we said previously. Running in P8 at the moment, he'll be hoping to improve. I believe I could be wrong here, but I believe this is Davide's first race back at ASR. He has raced here before, but he's back for more for the last 2 rounds of this season with the discounted entry that we did to try and get a couple more cars on the grid. There'll be an announcement towards the end of the broadcast today on our plans for next season. And maybe even a little bit of a teaser of them during the warm-up. We'll get to that when we get to that, though. So a little bit of a lull in the session now. Well, everyone's sort of doing their out laps for their final lap, but we've got a couple of people starting in their flyers right now. So Alvaro Gutierrez is one of them who we're watching now. He's trying to get a little bit of a toe off this Porsche. He's now backing off to let him through into Parabolica. The Acura is going to rotate through here really nicely, even if it's going to struggle on top speed a little bit. You can see him running right up to the line there on the exit and then cutting back across, as we've seen so many drivers do. Is it an improvement for Alvaro? No, it is not. A little bit off the lap time, not far off the lap time though, only 7 thousandths off the lap time that he set previously, but that will have set him up really nicely for his second flying lap, and this will be his last flyer of the session. He'll be taking the checkered flag next time round. 30 seconds to go in the session, so it looks like there may even be a few cars that might not make the flag at the time they were originally aiming. Nobody's lighting up the timing screens here. We're seeing a lot of yellow flags and a lot of yellow sectors, so it looks like the time for improvement in the session may have unfortunately passed.
Yeah, session is ended now. There's one driver that crossed the line then. You see a little black dot going into the first chicane. I'm not sure who Wack is. Probably Davey Wacker. A little far back. 2 seconds. So
check.
Someone goes off.
A little bit
Looks
closer.
like he might just have. Yeah, either he got punted off, and I didn't really quite look at it, or he wanted to get out of the way because he gave a toe. Might have been the first one though. Yeah, some people going into the pit, so they realize that their time is not going to be good enough. See it on the time boards as well. Lots of yellow, a little bit of green, but not anything I think is going to make a difference to the final result. So yeah, I got a little replay here. That's after the incident, so he just goes wide in Parabolica because he's forced wide for some reason. Does a great job making way for the Porsche that's coming through. Not easy when you have a grabber trap on the outside.
I think he was just
Might
missed the
have just
braking
gone off
point.
by
I don't
himself.
know. Yeah. Whoa.
Just see how close it was, but not really much the Acura can do that, really.
Yeah.
I
So
think we're done now. I think the final 3D runners came in before we started watching the replays. So checkered flag, everybody in the pits.
So that is your grid. It's an all
reset.
DLR front row. Mateus in P2, where he is in the championship, but the championship leader a couple of tenths off him. And I will correct myself, the Hungarian driver Balázs Tarowski in P3. So I might be going on holiday to Hungary later in the year. So if you feel bad about being misidentified, maybe we can buy you a drink on us to make up for that small mistake. Davide Favaro is your highest starting Italian in the GTP class. Ule, let's take a look at the results from this session. We'll go through the GT3 Pro, GT3 AM class first. Sorry, I know that won't set the grid, but it will give us. I say that we cannot see those results yet. I believe we will be able to now. 1 second left on the session, then we'll look at the results. But obviously, for those of you that aren't aware, we do reward points in the qualifying session. It's at, I believe, 10% of what is scored in the race. So I think you can score up to 35 points in the qualifying session. So worth bearing in mind. Let's take a look at the results. GT3 AM Ignis on pole position, or points pole position, we probably should say, by nearly a second over the rest of the field. I believe Jessica Perry will not be starting the race, yet to receive confirmation from race control, but I believe over the 105%, where race control then have discretion to choose whether the driver starts the race or not. Michael Bauter in P2, Amy Graham P3, Anthony Katara in P4, and his teammate Matteo Lemeroy in P5. We see a flurry of cars coming out on track. What a beautiful sight that is. Then let's take a look at the GT3 Pro standings. Daniel Morphy is your overall pole sitter and your points leader in that qualifying session. He currently stands in the championship only sorry, got my standings mixed up there. Only in P4, but he's not far off the car in front, and in fact those points will probably be enough to boost him up to P3 with Cohen not in the top 10. Casper England in P2, Matteo Blotto, the new driver to the championship, coming home in P3 at his home track, so that is a great result for him. Stefan Vestra P4, Adam Jarvis P5, Daniel Maggioni in P6, Paolo Antonori P7, Matteo Ubertali in P8, Emre Kemaldar in P9, Lawrence Van Stryland in P10, and then further down the grid, Cohen in P11, not where he needs to be considering he's sitting P3 in the standings. Tom Carroll in P12, and then Rick Van Overbeek P13 and Alvaro in P14. We'll run you through the GTP AM standings. Ule, do you want to take us through this one?
Yeah, please, GTP AM. So it's Alvaro Gutierrez taking pole position in the AM class here, just shy of 10th. To P2, David Ferraro, another Italian with a great result. Then it's Robin Gilmore, P3, followed by Davey Wacker, P4, Quinton Verdonken, P5, Raul Diaz, P6 with the caddies, Kevin Held, P7, Christian Fowler, P8, Navarro, P10, P9, sorry, and then even Avano, P10. Going down a little bit. We see have Albert Marcus P11 and Dominica P12.
Car number 3 in the race car.
I'm not quite sure what
will be starting from the pit lane.
For the GTPs,
contrary to what was previously
around
reported,
the limit there,
car
too
number
hectic last one. Carlos Pons have not set a time, so they might not be participating in this race.
I can't find it immediately, but it will not.
I love to see Hector go around. It's phenomenal to be so quick to
As you'll be reminded,
unfortunately
the green flag
but
does
someone
not
that's
start your race. Your race will start when your class leader
qualifying
goes
session
in the
really started
designated
off going
start.
half a second faster than
For the
Matthias
rest, I
Reiner, but
wish
he
you
managed
good
to
luck.
cut by a little bit by 3 tenths, so he's now P2 in front of Balash, P3, Valentino Roy, Galileo, P4, Patrick Svilsvasi, probably butchered that one, P5, Albert Prime, P6, and then Council Lale, P7, rounding it off. So yeah, a lot of great racing. I think we can anticipate, perhaps not in the GT3 AM class, it looked like there was a bit of a gap. let's put it like that. But the other classes can be interesting, and nothing is set just because you are fast in a qualifying session. Is it? Maybe if you are about 8/10th, but you can have a crash or an incident, then you just have to be unlucky and then somebody else takes your lead.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely easy to make up positions here around Monza, often chaotic, and with those big straights, very easy to overtake. Just before we go into the race, which starts, we'll go to the grid in about 20 seconds time. Quick launch. We are bringing back IMSA for season 6. You can find all the information on our website. The link is in the description. It will take you straight to the IMSA Series 6 page where you can look at the calendar, how the sessions work, entries and prizes. Entries and prizes, we can confirm we've been able to keep them fixed at the same cost due to the high participation we've had this season, so that's great to see. You can grab your entries there. If you head over to our Discord as well, link also in the description, you'll be able to see the announcement made by one of our admins, Kevin Stam, about the Super Formula Lights series that we'll be running next season as a more casual league, so that will not have live stewarding and broadcasting. We may end up broadcasting a couple of rounds depending on the participation that we get, but that will be a more for fun series with mixed weather as well. So head over to the Discord if you want to sign up for that. There is no entry fee, completely free to enter and take part in, so head over there and sign up for that. But for now, we're going to go to the grid for this race that we have
Excuse
here.
me, why did I have an Ita car behind me?
We have at Monza today.
Are you asking me, Simon?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's lined up. Is that a GTP in the...
There was a GTP there. We just heard Matteo
at the
on the
end?
radio.
I don't think that would have ended up well. Going into turn 1, GTP coming through the GT3 field. Wondering if that's... it's either Hector or... Who was the other one that didn't set a time?
Carlos
Not sure.
Ponce.
One of the two. Yeah, might be starting from the pit then. Anyway, off we go for the first GTP cars. GT3 will wait a little bit just so everybody can get turning the right way when we might end up having carnage in turn 1. Of course, don't hope it, but I've been seeing too many Monza races to not have my hopes high.
Yeah, we've had some
For
chaotic
Monza.
races around Monza in the past at Anti-Stall Racing. We used to run this track when we hosted the Formula 1 series as well. Remember, there's a very funny moment you can see on our TikTok. That video was posted a while ago, but I do recall there's a very funny clip of a commentator's curse. And I believe that driver is not currently driving with us, but has driven in the IMSA series before as well. So some of you may know him. So I would go and... catch up on that. So plans announced today for season 6, but we've still got season 5 to close off. We can see the GT3s packing up in the background behind the hypercars, the GTP as they're called in IMSA, and coming round the final corner, the DLR cars occupy the front row. It's a grid of teammates at the front after that. What can they all do to work together? The toe so crucial here, and the leader is now in the start zone, so will go at his own discretion. They'll probably time it together, but it doesn't really look like it. Seaman gets a big jump on his teammate Matiz, who tucks in behind for the toe. Balaz got a great start there as well. He's already alongside Seaman on the run into turn 1. He's got the inside line. Can he outbrake him? That's what's crucial. And no, it looks like he's going to slot back in behind. And that is what he's done. Everybody through turn 1 fairly cleanly, it looks like. Got the rest of the pack following through. There were no incidents in turn 1 in GTP, which seems hard to believe. Let's take a look at the GT3 field. We've got a GTP coming out just in front of him. Is he going to make the braking zone? The second one is a little bit further back. That's really unfortunate. But the first car is through the braking zone. This is when we tend to see the chaos in turn 1, and we've got a lot of it. Cars turned around and off.
Nice to see the GTP there in the end, not trying to be too aggressive and make it straight through. He knows that his race is not won in turn 2, even though he's just lost a lot of lap time. But great racing from the GTP field. Really, it didn't look like anybody really had any incident. Oh, someone going off there straight across the second chicane, but lovely start from Jean-Paul. Matthias Weidzen caught lagging just slightly, but I thought he was actually going to make it up the inside, but yeah,
incident in turn 1.
Yeah,
3 into 1 doesn't go. Looked a lot worse from the angle we saw. We have to say only one car really affected by that.
Yeah, so everybody else has managed to make it safely through. Might have had to cut a little bit, but better to cut than to end up having damage. So we're back to live here. So some gaps starting to form, not great for the small trains, so you see a little bit. You see Lawrence here in the view. We're back of this three-man group. Amy just slightly out, still in the slipstream, I believe. Yeah, must be in the slipstream, but so 4 people. But if you look a little further ahead, then you see that
Balaz's got to slow down there.
Because Balaz, yeah, he's down to 6 now. He's from standing, so he's had some incidents that we've not seen probably from the slowdown.
Get a slowdown there, yeah, lost
like
quite a few positions. Now under threat from his teammate as well.
Yeah, but a little easier to defend through Ascari than it is to defend on the straight here. Might have an opportunity to come back. His teammate, is that Olvale? No, cannot be Olvale. Yeah, a little hard to read from the standings who that is.
Laz Tarowski, P5, and Patrick Zdavasi in the 6 is his teammate and rival at this point on track. A little bit of a gap out in the lead. Daniel Maggioni's got to slow down, so he's going to have to give up some time in some place. It's really unfortunate for him. Matteo Blotto, in his first race in anti-stall racing, is currently P2 in the GT3 Pro class. He's got a GTP trying to make his way through at the moment, but he's not going to get in before Ascari. That was crucial for Blotto as he continues to try and challenge for the lead against the BMW. And big wiggle from the GTP, who gets loose there. I'm not sure if there was contact. Very, very close to hitting the AMG. Matteo Blotto deep on the brakes. Can he make any ground up? Not that way. Ooh, slightly tighter line for Daniel Maggioni there in the BMW.
Yeah, really tight there. Didn't look that fast. I think Blotto is going to have a good chance of run here. Didn't look like the exit was as great as I first anticipated, but he is getting closer to P1. It's now down to just about 4/10. Should be able to get a fairly good shot at it this time around, or this lap at least. Just want to finish Blas off a little bit. He's currently P6, but he's P1 in the standings, just 52 points ahead of Matthias Weiden. So he's gonna have to dig deep if he wants to keep that championship lead. Only one race left after this one. At least from what I was able to find out. So
yeah, we've got the final next week.
Not a lot of times left to try and make that gap bigger. Matthias is going to P2, 1.7 behind his teammate Jean-Paul Simon, who again is only 11 points behind Matthias. So not only is he gonna invite Matthias up into P1, or at least in front of Balazs, he's also going to invite Jean-Paul into the top of the standings more than he would want to going into the final round.
Yeah, going to be quite a close fight, I think, in the final at Daytona, the oh-so-famous IMSA track that we're going to be returning to as usual in the Anti-Stall Racing IMSA series, but this time round it's going to be for the finale, and there'll be great racing there, great overtaking, but right now the focus is on the Italian track of Monza. Matteo Blotto still challenging for the lead in GT3, and big shout out to Davide Favaro as well, currently leading GTP AM, but actually is currently sitting P4 overall, and is only an unfortunate incident away for one of the cars in front, or a well placed strategy, only one position away from the podium. So now he's about to be overtaken by two cars. This great bump drafting almost into the Parabolica, and Davide is going to try and hold on the inside, and he's going to run the Acura all the way to the outside. I believe that's Albert Preem. Balazs got past, two of them got past, but can he? Oh, not a great exit for Balazs, it looks like, as the other two are going to gain down the straight. Can anybody make an audacious move into the braking zone? Davide is definitely thinking about it. Albert Preem goes defensive, and it looks like, oh, so close to contact there in the braking zone. After I said all of that, he was only a couple of places off the podium. He's now a few more, but he's still got a buffer of two pro cars between him and the nearest AM car. So perhaps this is the best chance for him to try and build that gap and secure that win in AM, which would be an incredible feat on his return to anti-stall racing.
Yeah, it's under a lot of pressure here. David Ferraro driving around his caddy. I was unaware that he was actually doing a race in the Cadillac, so that's why I said earlier that Juan Diaz was the best quality caddy. I think I might have to take that one back, but yeah, a lot of pressure here. You have two cars really close to him. They're gonna fight him here in the next straight. But he's almost 2 seconds in front of Alvaro Gutierrez, so if he thinks about it, he's just going to let these cars go through, so you don't have to fight too much. It's a nice gap that he has, definitely outside of the slipstream range. It's going to play a lot into it here, the GT3 traffic, so if you he can tackle this nicely, of course, this is the ideal situation, right? That he can just ride past them here on the straight, so it's going to be minimal time loss. Ooh, caught a little bit there by in grind. That is going to be a little bit of time loss, but I have a little gap here.
Under attack in the braking zone, you'd have to say. Two cars in front fighting as well.
Defense a little bit. Didn't lose anything. Fortunately, being
side by side in the GT3 class.
Two TTPs, but also a lot of GT3s.
Now let's take a look at the incident that lost Ignis the lead in GT3. I believe he's still leading at this point. Waiting to see what happened here. The pink Porsche going into the braking zone. I believe that's a pro car in front of him. And contact. It's an audacious move to make into the Parabolica. Fortunately, everyone's able to avoid him. That's how he lost the lead. Such a difficult place, and with everyone so packed up, nearly impossible for him to rejoin safely. Waits for the gap, as he should do. He would have been facing a hefty penalty from race control otherwise, but he got going again. Currently runs P4 in his class, but I believe that might even just be 4.
Paul, can you watch Lesmo 1, please?
Matteo asking for an incident in Lesmo 1 to be reviewed. He had contact with Davide Favaro, of all people. Let's take a look at that incident. Oh, he's already got the damage here. Oh, and then more contact further on. So I believe this is the original incident.
Also check the region, please, for that incident.
Oh, GTP runs into the back of him.
Yeah. Was that Ferraro, I think?
Yeah.
Not much from Matteo there to do. I
think Matteo does everything he can to get on re-safety. That second incident will probably be looked at by race control, but that's extremely unfortunate coming together of several cars. There's another incident here that we can take a look at. This was a 4X between Kevin Held and Davy van der Wacker. Oh, and both cars go off into the braking zone. So both ran deep. No one's really to blame there.
No, tries to re-going after going off the track. I think he split off, just go straight at that point. Might have to take the penalty anyway.
Kevin Held.
Because neither of them really make the apex.
Kevin Held just went off again in turn 1 as well. Let's see what happened this time around. Is he going to try and make a late move?
This might be the reason why the Merc doesn't have any bodywork left. Let's try and see. Goes to the inside.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, goes to the outside.
And that is exactly what the race director asked people to not do in the briefing after seeing a very similar incident in the 6 Hours of Spa a couple of weeks ago. So that'll be under investigation by race control. The Merc also lost the rear wing, so not quite sure what happened there. Let's take a look at what happened to the Mercedes. Under investigation by race control.
Of course, they make contact on the front there. As you see, Porsche goes into him, but it just falls off.
He just falls off it. Yeah, it's done enough work for the day. Not really needed around here. The car looks a lot sleeker now. And he's going to carry on and see what he can do with that damage. We are far enough in the race that he can probably make it will be a 2-stop race, you'd have to imagine, around here, Ulo, with the higher fuel consumption, so he can come in now. But what he's going to lose is not being in that draft with all these other cars, so he's going to lose quite a lot of the tow, which is what's going to hurt him. Yeah, Kevin Held with a meatball flag from that incident as well. It's coming in to repair that damage.
Yeah, as you say, it's going to be a 2-stop unless you can get up behind someone, as Robin Duhamel tries to do that, and then just do a lot of fuel saving. But looking at the gaps in all the classes, it's not really possible for him. I think Daniel Murphy might give a little bit of tow there to Matteo Blotto, who, if he's smart, he'll try and do it, but ideally he just wants to get past Daniel, right? Try and save a little bit on the first stop, and then if he gets a nice enough gap, then he can drive Daniel out of the slipstream, and then he can just drive away, try and gain a little tow from the GTPs that's eventually gonna get past him on the straight. Still getting a little bit of a window where you can gain time actually when you're being overtaken by the GTPs when they come past. It's not like make a 1 second gap on you and in a second. It does take a little bit of time to develop that lead where the slipstream is no longer there.
Yeah, we saw this battle
But
between
yeah.
Matteo and Alvaro heating up for second place in AM class, and I think they're going to go again into turn 1, and Yao Diaz and Patrick Lavassi going at it behind as well. But Patrick in the pro class really needs to try and clear these AM cars if he wants to fight for serious points today. We're not able to challenge into the braking zone, and neither is Patrick behind. Robin had his best run actually going into the second chicane.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Robin isn't really isn't interested in racing too much because he's actually leading the GTP AM class at this moment in time. But the problem is that the driver in front of him is the driver behind him who's standing by just 3 points. It can't really recall the qualifying session results in my head, but he definitely wants to get past this driver and doesn't want to lose the time that he's doing here. Then it's David van der Bakke. Currently, he's a bit further down. He's in P8, so he already has a nice little point gap if he can keep this run home. David Ferraro doesn't really matter. He's not in contention to anything really.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're thinking about championship battle,
in the
it's only these
championship.
two that matter. And Robin Duhamel has just been given, I believe, a 5-second time penalty by race control as well. 5-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the track. So we didn't see that, but that's a penalty that's been
really
given.
unfortunate.
See if we can get a
But it is
replay.
actually, there's 5 people that could be in contention. Oh, okay, yeah, let's just check this replay here. Looks like he hit someone on the rear there with the way that he corrects the car.
Yeah, let's take another look.
Of course, can't really see it from this angle. Looks like he tries to save it first and then he
runs a little bit deep in the braking zone. Oh, and then he's going to run the caddy off the road. I think that's probably what the penalty's for. See why race control aren't happy with that, but it's kind of hard to avoid in Monza turn 1, to be honest. Yeah, a little bit harsh. Surprised he wasn't given a warning first.
He's being pushed off himself.
We'll go back to live pictures here. Davide Favaro up in the gravel.
Huge moment there. Really lucky not to hit it out in the wall.
Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, so it's a second Lesmo, has a little bit of dirty air going in. Oh, yeah, just slides across too much understeer, and then he of course loses a lot of time. He was not far enough ahead that he was able to keep Alvaro and Ruben outside too much there now, well within the slipstream. Just half a second separates P1 and P2, so he's invited someone into a battle that he definitely didn't want to. He now goes into the pit, presumably to try and undercut the two. Don't think that he got any damage from that.
No, Davide choosing to come into the pit lane though. 15 minutes into the race, it's a decent window to pit and maybe get yourself out of the traffic, calm down, just do some solid laps. That threat of having cars around you can be a bit disconcerting. I say that, he's been given a black flag.
David Ferraro?
Yeah. Oh, he had a filled black flag for 29 seconds, and then 29 seconds later received the black flag, so he got a slowdown and didn't serve it, it looks like. That is a very poor way to... And I tell you what, he's out of the car.
Yeah, well, but then it's from the... Well, from what I could see, I didn't really see... It might have been from the second chicane. Of course, can't really tell. I didn't get the replay from that one, but should have been from the other track.
He'd already been given a drive-through penalty. We missed that one. He was given a drive-through penalty by race control for causing a collision. And then he got a slow down here. Oh, we missed this.
Yeah, that's definitely a slowdown, and then he keeps on powering through. Doesn't seem like he's slowing down that much.
Black flag awarded by race control, so yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate ending for the driver that was performing
just how it is.
pretty well early on. Mateus in the pits to try and do something a little bit different.
probably try and play a little bit with the traffic that's coming up. He was just about 3 seconds behind his teammate Jean-Paul, and then he's leaving it to Blush. He's now 9 seconds behind Jean-Paul, so he's going to be scratching his head after this race if he doesn't improve significantly. But yeah, Ferrari is out, but I don't think neither of the two front runners in GTB AM right now is really caring about that. Yeah, great battle there. I think they're really close to each other. Robin Duhamel and Alvaro just switched places a moment ago. It's now Robin Duhamel leading. Remember, he still got the 5-second penalty, so he's gonna have to stand really hard with this right foot.
Take a look at how Robin made his way past Alvaro for the lead in class.
Yeah, so this is coming into the second chicane.
Oh, contact. Saying that, he's already passed at that point, so we saw he must have got past here a couple of laps ago. This was the first time that he got by his fellow rival, and that may have only... Oh, he's managed to hold it into the chicane. Very, very impressive.
From the outside into the first chicane.
It makes it work on the exit as well.
Yeah, and then Alvaro is going to come back here. Got a nice little slipstream into the second chicane. Looks like Robin is then going to be pulling out. Yeah, he pulls out to try and defend for the second chicane. And then squeezes Alvaro out to the outside just like he should be. And then he's able to hold it on. Lovely racing from Robin Duhamel. That's exactly how you get past, but that's the next problem. Trying to gain a gap that's big enough that
We're watching that. He's been repassed yet again, and Alvaro back into the lead.
Yeah, so he couldn't get the gap big enough. Yeah, it's just it's a replay of the move that Robin made on Alvaro, isn't it? This time it's just moved around. So let's see, keep this replay going. So Alvaro doesn't come out and block Robin Duhamel from passing here into the second chicane. But how does it go? Looks like Robin is, he's well clear for Alvaro, so it just comes back again. Nice exit there. So that's how it currently is.
Go to live.
In front.
Positions.
Coming up to a lot of GTP traffic. First one in grind.
Mateo's going to make it work into the chicane. That's going to give it a little bit of a buffer.
He's getting past. That's crucial. That little bit of time that he gains. That you see how the gap increases to a lot. What is it now? 6/10. So he's still within slipstream range. But how is he gonna deal with the GT3 traffic? They're coming into the braking zone. It's on the inside of the GT3, so it's gonna be compromised. At least on the entry. But how's the exit?
Alvaro flash for lights for Universal. Oh, and they're both in the pit lane.
Yeah, and they're both going.
Whoa, no, that's not going to work. Oh, GT3 and GTP nearly not making it into the pit lane side by side. I know pit lane action isn't always the most interesting, but we're going to watch this here because these two drivers are fighting for position. Let's go and actually look at the car of Alvaro, because then we'll be able to see
Mateo, hold your line.
both of them. Eloy Cabanero telling Mateo to hold his line. That might be looked at by race control if they're not happy with something. But right now, we're going to watch this battle in pit lane.
Didn't look like Alvaro really optimized his pit box that much. See, Robin is down, Alvaro is down.
Robin's got to extend
That's going to
it.
be more than 6 cents, and I think it's going to be more than a second. This is out of the slipstream. So if Robin can get into turn 1 before the GT3, you see it there in the distance, I think he is going to be a lucky Frenchman. Yeah, 3 seconds, almost 3 seconds. He got a GT3 in the outside of
Oh.
Yeah, it has to defend a little bit from the GT3. Not
Look at that
much.
gap,
That's gonna slow
2.8
down.
seconds.
Yeah, 2.8.
That's how much it matters to nail that pit entry and then nail stopping in the box. It really can make such a difference. GT3 driver.
If you the viewers can go back a little bit and see how slow Alvaro was, just stopping, not going into the pit lane, probably also going into the pit lane, but just stopping into the box. He slowed down significantly more than Robin. Looked like Robin really stamped on the brakes, right? Going into his box, stamped on the brake, boom. He's already going with his pit stop. Alvaro didn't do it, and that cost him 3.7 seconds. It's only 1.3 away from actually leading this race. Remember, he still got that 5 second. Not sure he's got behind here, and if his intention is to try and repress Robin, because that could hurt him quite significantly. 4 seconds as we go into the replay here. Robin Duhamel goes a little right there. That's
Nearly
really
lost the
unfortunate,
position
but,
to Patrick. Keeping the position crucial there.
Patrick doesn't come by. Yeah, another wiggle there. Lovely save from Robin. He's under a lot of pressure. You can see it in the way that he's driving right now. Pushing it, giving it absolutely everything. But gap is down to 3 seconds. So he lost another second somewhere, probably in the sky. You didn't really see it. But that's Patrick.
Alvaro getting frustrated behind the GT3 traffic. Oh, that's crucial though. The teammate, I believe that's Juanto Avale, teammate of Alvaro Gutierrez, comes out in front of Robin. What does this mean? How do the team play the tactics?
Not good for Robin. Gap is throwing a lot. I'm not sure if that's just the standings being a little bit off, or if that's the actual gaps.
Alvaro had some pretty poor
3.7.
traffic. Daniel Morpy's had an off track. Let's take a look at that. So that's disappeared off the screen.
Looks like yeah, they're all there in the background. Oh, yeah, well, that was background 3 seconds up ahead. There's a lot of gap GT3 traffic coming into Ascari. That's not good for Robin Duhamel. See, gap is down to 2 seconds. So everything he's just gained, he's lost in an instant, really. 1.7 seconds, not enough for Slipstream, but enough to hurt him quite significantly still.
Race control.
Talking a lot about GTP-M, but yeah, looking to GTP Pro, Jean-Paul still leading 3.5 seconds. And then down to Balazs, it's another 7 seconds. So
Daniel Maggioni just been on the radio to report this incident. Oh, the GCP sends it.
Outside of Sky, oof, yeah.
GCP, you have to say, causing that collision there.
It didn't look like GT3 could have done much there.
Let's take a look.
We've got to give Daniel credit for steering his car off the racing line.
It's too late to send it there.
Quite easily have been bounced back up. See how he goes back into the wall and then brakes. Yeah, well driven, but of course, really unlucky. When the GTP get all the penalties that the race control wants to give him, but then it's not going to be happening nonetheless. Raul Gutierrez challenged here by a bit of GT3 traffic, but he's closing that gap down.
Right now the gap actually closer behind him. Put the intervals up on screen rather than the gaps.
Yeah, 2.87. Still hovering about that 3 seconds. It's not gaining as much time as I initially thought. Trying to see, of course, we can't see the interval between Robin Duhamel and Jean-Paul Valley. Since they're not in the same class, and we'll have the overall standings. Yeah. Trying to see if we get them here. So Robin Duhamel, actually P7 overall is a pretty good result for a name driver. Half a second behind Yangzhou Valley, so it's gonna gain some lap time, but if Yangzhou drives it well, then he could lose as much time as he can gain, really. Just go through into the first chicane. What are you gonna do? Can't really go around the outside, either on entry or exit. So a lot of opportunities for Alvaro to close the gap even further if Yangzhou decides to play the team game.
Yeah.
Back down the order, GTP Pro Daniel Murphy, he's 4 seconds ahead of Kasper Umelen. So that's nice for the BMW driver, but Matteo Bellotto, 7th, 10th back, 8th, 10th. Looks like he might have had a little bit of an incident, either that or some GTP's traffic. Only bit unsure. It's now up to a second. Still 1.1. It's on the line of getting outside of slipstream range. Goes back down a little bit further down. It's It's pretty close between all the Porsches, really. Yeah, okay. Perhaps not Lauren Van 5 seconds behind. And then GT3M, it's Ignas still leading away 3.5 seconds. Almost 4 as it comes up here. Around 2 seconds, Matteo Lemme 1 second. So not much that anybody can really do with these times. Matteo might be able to get a little bit of a podium if he pushes a little bit there. There's Anthony. He had the incident there in that one turn one.
Yeah, he'll definitely be looking to make up the ground from the incident and the damage that he's had. There's definitely potential. I believe Ignis may be on a slightly different strategy to the rest of them after having that incident at the start of the race. Could be wrong though.
Ignis currently leading GT3M, not only on track but also in the championship.
Robin doing
180 points more than Matteo Lemre, so I can't really decide today, can he? But he can at least make a nice enough gap that he can afford to have a bad final race at Daytona. A little bit of a problem here for Matteo, or not a problem, it's really in his favor, because this Matteo's worst race finish is 24 points, then the second worst currently is 230, so he could be bumped up a lot. But
Robin looking to try and make the move here to move up a position on track, not a position in terms of points or in terms of championship, but it is crucial. If he can make this move, it will just give him a little bit of extra buffer. But like we said, he is in a title fight with the teammate of the car in front, that is Juan Totovala, so he will want to be careful not to try and get too involved and not to get too close. We obviously expect all the drivers to play fair, but you can expect the car in front to put up a very strong defence and not just let the car through that he might if it wasn't a car in his that was fighting his teammate for the championship.
yeah, because they're still racing riders. Nobody says that a pro can't race an M. It's of course a little bit of a hit to the dignity for the the pro driver that he's being attacked by an M car, but if he can help his M teammate, then I'm sure he's willing to give up a little bit of dignity in the hope that he can help his teammate.
Is Stefan Vestra trying to make
P6.
Yeah, trying to make the move on Emre Kamaldar,
So
sorry,
this is
ahead.
The three Porsches that we see out to the left side, really close to each other. Not as close as I initially thought, but driving really close to each other. It's nice to see. Clean racing. Let's try and see if he can get close enough. I don't think he really had the exit to go for anything. It's going to be a long shot into the second chicane, so he's going to have to stay back. Might have to wait after the second decimal.
Yeah, pretty
Nice.
difficult when you're both in the same car to
second
make
chicane.
those moves.
Yeah, it really is, because you don't have the advantage that you have over some of the other cars.
Yeah.
Equal machinery.
Even though you've not got necessarily an extreme speed advantage in one car over the other, you've got little tricks that you can use that your car may be good at, maybe better in the high speed, maybe better in the braking zone of a certain corner. But these two cars will be fairly set up, obviously can have a little bit of an impact, but will be set up as a baseline fairly identically and have similar characteristics and similar strengths to each other. So that does mean that Stefan has to be a little bit more creative to make the move work. They're on the run now into the famous Parabolica. Monza in the middle of the park here, of course. Lots of trees surrounding the track. Not quite as bad as what we had at Imola that made much of the race hard to watch. Seven Veshevo, see what he can do at the exit at Parabolica. It didn't look like the best exit though from there.
I'd say it's okay exit, but okay, from this angle it looks a little difficult for Stefan. Don't think he's gonna go for anything, but I mean, equal machinery, yeah, of course it's gonna be of course equal, but you're also gonna have a nice little advantage in the slipstream. It's not like the Porsche in front of you is gonna be significantly faster, because the wind settings that you have is gonna play a little bit of an effect, but I could imagine that the setup pretty similar. Don't really run a lot of ring around this track. Doesn't really make sense to try and gain speed in the chicanes unless you can gain so much that you make up for it in the time that the guys behind you can catch up. On the straights you have 3 pretty long straights. But he seems to be good in the corners. Stefan Vestre, I saw how close he was able to get in the first chicane. Not the tightest of Les Motifs we've seen from any Porsche. So he's gonna lose a little bit. Can see a goal there in the distance. P4, Adam Jarvis leading this little train ahead. Let's try and see how he gets through Ascari. Ooh, lovely tight line. Gets a little closer. And how's it gonna pan out? Not a lot. He is challenged by guy in front of him also having slipstream. So it's margins that he's gonna be able to gain here on the straight. But as Emma Camalda is presumably getting closer to Adam Jarvis, he's gonna have to defend at some point and or attack, sorry. Adam is gonna have to defend, and defending loses time, and then that's gonna let Stefan is really just hoping that that Emma can take some time off Adam Jarvis, and Adam Jarvis stop having GTP traffic in front of him. That's gonna help him get away. Yeah, just see it here, how close he gets.
And there's contact.
Yes, he gets so close that he bumps Emma Camalda and spins him out right in front of him. Really unfortunate for the 2 drivers. Not really unfortunate that he hits him. It's just stupid. Simple as that.
Yeah, let's.
But yeah, lucky for Adam Jarvis. Who's now got
let's take a look at that
gap.
from offboard. It looks like there was a little bit of a concertina effect going into the corner with these 3 cars, and they all sort of backed into each other. Let's have a look what happened.
Yeah, was it that?
Vestre closes up massively in the first part.
It doesn't get that close to Adam Jarvis.
Gets on the throttle a bit early.
Yeah, I think he's a little too trigger happy, and then he's annoyed of watching the rear of that orange and black Porsche that then stops, so he gains a position ultimately. How's he get down to Matteo Petali? So it's 5 seconds for Stefan Vestre down to Matteo Petali. He's probably going to get a 5-second penalty from that incident, I could imagine. So he's only really got half a second to play with, unless that lap time is or that gap is going to go up. Maybe Matthias going to be challenged by Cohen. He's only 3/10 behind. It's the battle that we're seeing here once again with 2 equal cars, but this time there's no Audi in front of the two to try and annoy Cohen here. So he's really close to the 86. Going into parabolic, I'm not going to go for a move into here. That would not be smart. Challenged a little bit by GTP traffic coming through. That's going to compromise the 86 car of Matteo Petali, who's going to have, it looks like a little bit of a bad exit. Cohen, it's really close. That is 2 seconds, 2/10, sorry.
GTP
so
flashes.
To go for close.
GTP flashes his lights, the universal sign of I'm coming through. I really thought Cohen was going to be able to have a go there.
Maybe he should flash his lights.
The universal, it means 2 things, doesn't it? It means I'm coming through and I'm a higher class than you, or I'm coming through, get out of the way. I'm going to send it in the braking zone, whether you like it or not. That's the other meaning of it. Or I'm going to flash my lights till you get so distracted you drive into the wall. See the other one.
Quite similar to the second one, isn't it? It's just a mental game, but if you have a running joke here in the size, blink to pass. Works for both as well. Perhaps more commonly used by faster classes to justify them sending it from half a second back.
Yeah, absolutely. Sending it into the Ascari chicane is a classic one.
Yeah.
I flashed my lights, so it must have been okay. That's often the logic applied by some of the higher classes. But I have to say, today we've had a couple of incidents, but it's been fairly well behaved. No silly moves into Ascari, what we just joked about, but it's surprisingly common. We had a little bit of a silly one on the exit that was looked at by race control. Not sure if that reached a decision. I believe it was Daniel Maggioni that received the penalty. It looks like the decision was called racing incident. We'll have a look why race control called that. It did look like it was perhaps a bit of netcoat and they would have made it through otherwise, so that could be why that decision was made. But Cohen is going to have a much better chance this time. There's nothing else on around them, but he didn't quite get the exit you would have expected. He would have wanted to be able to try and make the move, and he's too far back, really.
Half a second, I was going to say there's not really the gap that he wants.
Or GTP in the braking zone is going to close up that gap.
If he's fast, he goes to the inside. Okay, it doesn't really. I think if he was a little faster,
can he nail the exit though?
He could have gone for that one.
The initial drive wasn't incredible, but he's close enough now that the toe should really pull him into the second chicane.
On the grass. Yeah, it's going to
show his nose.
He looks for it.
Not going to be able to outbrake the car ahead. You wouldn't have thought. What can he do here? Eat up all of the curb.
Okay. That's one hungry German. Or the car at least. But he is getting really close. That's the closest battle that we have on track currently. If you take away Matthias pitting, I don't really think we can count that as a battle. Amy Grime half a second behind Michael Boughton. But Theo Lembe, 43 seconds, he must have had an incident that we didn't really see. But yeah, just to comment on what you said before, we have
Theo Lemroy has done his second pit stop. It's worth noting. The other cars in front have only done one pit stop. So he's done two stops. But 21 minutes is about as long as you want to go in a stint. Be interesting.
Yeah, we're close to the second pit window.
Yeah, we've seen Matthias in for his second stop.
First time around.
We'll see the same from more of the guys out front.
Yep. Botali going into the pit. So now it's time for Cohen to show what he can do on his own. This is where he can gain those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10th. Sorry, that he have been behind Botali most of these laps that we've been behind. So let's see, going into turn 1. Uses a lot of track on the outside there, eats a lot of curb and drags it all the way out. So he knows that he has to push now. That's not anything else that he can do if he wants to get past. This is his best opportunity, probably for the rest of the race. If you're lucky with traffic, as GTP behind him, how close is it gonna be? It's gonna. Yeah, it's right behind him now. It's probably gonna get past him before Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. In an ideal world, he would let that GTP by after Lesmo 2, so he can get the slipstream down the straight. If he's lucky, the gap is close enough. A little bit of a toe that he gets here, but I don't think it's gonna be significant. I think he might get into the pit now then. Not sure when he pitted the first time around. So I think we're gonna have the result of this push lap very soon. The out lap of Upatali is gonna be quite crucial for P6 in the GTP Pro class.
It's gonna be crucial too.
A little bit of a toe here as well. Got some dirt here, but I think it makes up for it.
And is Cohen? The big question is Cohen going to come in this time, or is he going to keep trying to bang out those laps while he's maybe got a little bit more free air and he doesn't come in?
For another one, yeah. Doesn't have a lot of traffic needed from behind. What, there's GT3 there in the background, who is looking at the intervals.
Nearest GTP. Seems
he goes into the pit, so that's a bit difficult to tell.
John Paul Seaman's been given a black flag. What is that incident for?
That could be very interesting.
Entering pit lanes, black flag 2 seconds later. Let's take a look, but I think John Paul Seaman sped on pit lane entry. And find the
that would be a silly thing to do when you've had the gap that Jean Paul has had most of his race.
It's an amazing angle, is it?
No, but it is difficult to see how fast he's going. I can't really tell if he's doing 80 or 85 just from the replay. We can't see it on the dash neither, unfortunately. But does he look up?
He's still slowing down a long
It
way
looks way too fast. See how he was sliding for about 10-20 meters. That is might be championship gone for Jean-Paul. Unless he's really lucky at Daytona. It's not completely gone, but his chances could have been increased significantly if he would have held that P1. He is not even the top 5 now. Some pit cycles still to go. But Preem and Young Solvale isn't supposed to be P1 and P2 from what we've seen. Blash, though, certainly belongs in the top 2 of this race. Qualified P3, just behind Matthias, qualified P2. Both currently 3rd and 4th.
That's currently running the net P2 with the cars that are pitted about 8 seconds off the back of Matthias. Gained about half a second in the last fraction. Not sure what's happened. There's been an instant.
Verdonk is also yet to pit, isn't he? 23-second gap to Robin Duhamel. So unless everybody else has had a major incident, then you might expect Verdonk to pit rather soon. Same goes for not same goes for Robin Duhamel, but 2-second gap to Alvaro right now. It's not too late. It's 15 minutes left of the race. 16 minutes, sorry, plus minus a lap. So he can still gain those final, what I said, 3.5 second gap, but it's gonna be difficult. Both pitting now, actually. No, sorry, only Verdonk pitting.
Blotto comes into the pits to try and undercut Casper Ummerlin. He carries on for one more lap. The net leader in GT3 Pro, Daniel Morphy, pitted a couple of laps ago, but Matteo in now. Where's he going to come out relative to Daniel? That's what's going to be crucial. A slightly shorter pit stop by coming in a few laps later, but Daniel Morphy, that's not the best angle for it. Looks like he's going through parabolic and out. I think you would say that he's going to quite confidently beat Matteo out. Well, Matteo's coming out of the pit lane now.
Yeah, but he has a lot more speed, Daniel Murphy, than Matteo's going to be able to catch up. Still a little bit of a run there from pit exit to turn 1.
Probably a little bit closer than it was before the pit cycle.
Yeah, 1.5 second, 1.6. Have we had Ruben Duhamel and Alvaro Gutierrez pit the second time? Didn't really pay attention.
1.7 seconds behind, and Robin's still trying to make the move on the pro car. He must be getting bored of seeing blue cars in front of him and behind him. He's running a net P6, Robin, overall in the GTP class. He wants to make it P5. It'll be difficult to make that move now. See a close battle in GT3 behind. Pit lane.
It'll have to be a big send if he wants to make any kind of move. Doesn't do it.
Probably difficult.
It's still P2 is a great result for Robin Duhamel. He's leading.
Well, he's leading.
Yeah, well,
he's leading class.
It's only 3 points, but if he gets a nice qualifying session at Daytona and he gets a win, then I think he can still take. Take the championship at the end. So it's not completely done just because he finishes P2 here, but of course 5 second gap down to Alvaro is gonna
he needs to get the pass done in the next couple of laps to have any chance of building that gap, doesn't he? It's going to be it's already a big ask, and with about 13 minutes to go, so he needs to make the move if he wants any chance of that, but he doesn't want to risk spinning out of the race and damaging the car, which would mean he wouldn't finish at all. So he needs to, like you say, either get on with it safely or settle for P2 in the race.
Yeah, and then of course he has a problem currently shaped as a blue box right in front of him, resembling the blue box behind. Set a little bit of a snap there in Parabolica. Looked like it's gonna have a bad exit. How is that gonna make his gap to Alvaro? That's gonna mean that Alvaro gets within a second. That's it's not a slipstream that he can't get out of, Robin Duhamel, but it's a slipstream that he would not have liked to be there. In return, he actually gets really close to Ovale. I think he's got close enough that if he wants to, and if he has the intention to, he could probably make the move into second chicane. Let's try and see. It's not
we thought about
the heaviest braking zone in the world.
I think the Acura
doesn't get
pretty
close
solid
enough.
on the brakes around here. It looks like it's going to be difficult to make the move.
Yeah, I think he's compromised a little bit.
Oh,
by
he's
being-
going to try and use the traffic
As
and
a
go all the way
cheese,
around
he
the
could
outside.
get around the outside.
Oh, but the GT3
Get boxed in.
screws it up for him and comes back out to the racing line. So he tried it and he couldn't make it work. That's going to put him under some serious threat behind from Alvaro.
That was really close to being a genius move by Robin Duhamel. If he would have made that work, he would not only have gotten past the GT3, but also Ovale, of course. And Ovale would have been compromised with the exit of the GT3, so he would have had a nice gap from Ovale that Ovale wouldn't have been able to close up.
So unlucky there to not make
in
that
the
work.
next state there. Also means that Ovale wouldn't have been able to try and go for an attack on Robin Duhamel, so he would have lost even more time. But what is the gap now? It was 6th, 7th, 10th.
Vale got overtaken there by a couple of cars actually.
Did he?
No. Passed
Did
there.
Ovale get overtaken?
Passed there by Alvaro, sorry. Passed there by Jean-Paul Seaman. We saw that going into... Oh, that's not the best
Watching a
angle, is it?
replay of some trees.
We're going to see it here. Oh, no, we're not.
Yep.
We're going to see it.
No, that's a pass again.
We're going to see it here. This is the move that Jean-Paul Seaman made on Alvaro Gutierrez.
Yeah, so a little bit of lap time lost there as well.
And then there was another one, not that long
Gutierrez.
afterwards, made by Patrick Zavassi. Where's this going to be? Oh, the traffic. The traffic
Yeah,
timed
really.
perfectly there for Patrick. He makes up another place. It's not a move for position, but it's a move on track that puts him closer to Jean-Paul Seaman where he needed to be. Let's go back to live images now.
Alvaro also compromised by the GT3 on the outside there in Parabolica. Couldn't get the exit that he really wanted to. I think he's outside of the... Yeah, it's 1.6 seconds behind Robin now.
Jean-Paul Seaman, the
Again,
once
it's not
leader
enough.
of the race, now running down in P5 in his class. He's trying to make up time and make up positions, make up the points, crucially, after that speeding in pit lane penalty.
Yeah, if I was Robin Duhamel, I would have let Jean-Paul Seaman
Yeah, he doesn't-
pass
he
right
doesn't
now. I
need to
don't think
fight
it's a
this.
guy that he wants to. Yeah, would have let him pass in the straight instead of
Well,
instead of
Robin,
braking
what are
zone.
you
See
doing?
how much time they're both losing there. It's not the smartest of move from Robin.
He's losing.
This is not his fight.
Losing time to the
Robin
car in front, and he's
might not-
losing time to
And
that
he's
5
still
second
battling
bubble he needed to make up. He should let this go.
Remember, it's two different classes we are watching.
He should have let him
Let's
go
go.
and use the toe, realistically.
Yeah, they should have let
He's
him
going to
go
try
before
and
turn one. He's gonna come
re-overtake.
back.
No, don't.
No, it doesn't have the gap for it. Really goes in the favor of Robin that he doesn't have the speed to catch up to Jean-Paul because it just uses him time. That's not what Robin needs right now.
If he hadn't fought this as well, he would have been a bit closer and maybe a little bit more in the toe. Jean-Paul pulling off to the
Yeah.
side, weirdly. Not sure what that was about.
But see who he has invited into the race.
Race
Oh,
control, could you
into the
check the
battle,
video?
sorry, not the race. It's also a race as well. But I'm not talking about Patrick. He would have ended up there anyway. He's also a pro driver, so you would expect him to be fast enough to get
It
up.
was car number
But
140.
in the end of this little multi-class train is Alvaro Gutierrez.
Second.
Teo
who
Blotto
is,
still running P3 there, getting passed by about half a hypercar field. And we're going to get a great battle down here into turn 1. Lots of moves. I think Robin pulling out to try and make a move, but also he's going to get passed by Patrick, it looks at this point. But is he going to... Can Robin make this work to make the move on Juanto? Not quite, but... Oh! Spinner. Oh, no, this could be crucial for Robin, as he has to take to the runoff.
Take the escape route.
Going to get a slowdown. Where's he going to come out? Alvaro has taken the class lead in GTP AM as Robin Duhamel was forced to take avoiding action. He doesn't have a slowdown because he took the runoff correctly. It was cleared by doing that. But Robin loses the lead in class, and right now he's only 6 seconds clear of João Diaz. That needs to be his concern now. He's not going to retake the lead and make up the time in 7 seconds. Let's have a look what happened there. It looked like frustration set in for Jean-Paul Seaman.
Yeah, it's Jean-Paul that spins around in front. I think he's overtaking Uvala. He's trying to overtake Uvala inside on the inside here of this four-way battle. So it goes in, yeah, locks the rears, and then he spins around, and then it's Robert Duhamel that's on the outside of Patrick, and he has nowhere else to go than the escape route. So well reacted from Robin, but unfortunate for him that he has now lost. His chances of winning this race is incredibly slim, with a 2-second gap to Alvaro Gutierrez. Alvaro, on the other hand, he's done what he had to do. He knew that if he'd seen the 5-second penalty, we can ask him afterwards if he's off for an interview. But if he knows that there's that 5-second gap that he has to stay within, then he would just have to stay behind and chill and hope for a mistake like that, and it has paid off, and now he's leading comfortably.
Daniel Morphy looking for a chance to make the move to move up into the race lead. Obviously sitting currently in P4 in the championship, Casper Umelen leading the championship, but Casper Umelen not had quite as low a drop rounds as Daniel Morphy, so Daniel Morphy might gain a little bit once the drop rounds are added into the standings. We'll try and find a way to get those drop rounds calculated for you next week, so we can update you on the live standings throughout the race. But right now the focus is on the finish here at Monza with 5 minutes to go.
We've talked a lot about equal machinery, but now it's BMW against an Audi, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the BMW just has a little bit of an edge on that Audi. I'm not sure how the top speed is in either car, but BMW is known for being fast in a straight line. Really helps him here when you have so many straights as you do. See, nice little run through a sky. Looks pretty clean. A lot of sausage curd eaten there at the end. Gains just a little bit of lap time for each second. Or gap on Daniel Murphy, sorry, not a lot of lap time. Half a second here on this straight, that's not enough to gain anything. But gains it again here on Parabolica. 4 minutes left. I think if he's lucky, he can challenge Casper Umelen for more than just being in his rearview mirror. But let's try and see how it pans out. See how it goes into turn 1. Heavy braking. Lots of curb here from both drivers. A little bit more from Daniel Murphy, but it didn't. It looked fast, but not enough to really take any time away from the Audi driver. Meanwhile, a little bit of a battle here to Patrick Svilsvasi. He's gotten past Alvaro and then has another blue car to deal with. Yangso Valle. Some 2 Acuras. Porsche couldn't get past. What about an Acura?
This could be crucial for Robin as well if these two tangle, and then the car in the lead of the GTP AM class gets involved as well, because they're getting racy.
Go around the outside. Not the best of entries for Ovalle. See how it didn't really get all the way out. That in turn means that Patrick is going to get a much better line through Parabolica and a nicer exit.
Been going defensive extremely early on.
Top speed. and if he's lucky, it means a pass into turn 1, goes to the outside move. Ovale
Not willing to give up.
Not enough, still a little bit on the inside, but Patrick makes it through. He's now into P5 in the GTP Pro class. Great move from Patrick. He, yeah, textbook, really. Not much to say, really clean. And now he just has to
has a slowdown as well,
but just from this little gap between turn 2 and the second chicane, it looks like he has some pace to do it.
Vale with the slowdown there, trying to serve that. He lets his teammate through, the leader of the AM class. Robin has caught up a lot here. Robin is back stuck behind a Vale, ironically. He's caught up to a blue car, but
he was able to get past finally with that slowdown, but it didn't really look like it did.
And I said we saw no funny business into the chicane, but it looks like we're about to see some.
Oh, is he going from
all the way around the outside?
Well, he made it work cleanly as well, but
Robin Duhamel trying to make it work round the outside. John Paul Seaman trying to make it work down the inside. They're going to go 3 wide. That's not going to end well, and it's not. Robin has contact, and he's forced to go all the way around the outside of the GT3. He loses 1 place and doesn't make up the other one that he looked like he was on track to make up. But that's going to give him a mega exit here. No slowdown, so he must have got back on track in time. Can he make it work into turn 1? He needs a run here. He needs heavy braking. Can he make it work around the outside? He's going to send it. And he's going to run deep and has to back out of it.
He got the gap as well. Yeah, doesn't make it work, unfortunately. Nice little attempt here from the Frenchman, who really wants to get past that other blue car, but time's running up. Half a minute left of the race. It's not only time running up for Robin Duhamel, also time running up for Daniel Murphy, who not really seeing right now. Matteo Patali, turn 7-10, got just about the same gap as Daniel got, really. 4/10. Compromised by GTP there, so the gap that he had down is lost. That's unfortunate. For the Italian, he would have loved to gain a little cheeky position there. Always want to gain a position if you're not in P1. Robin Duhamel.
White flag for the leader.
Yeah, white flag. So it's got
a run here though.
Attempt. It's got
a mega run. Looks like there must be. I think there must be damage on Vale's car. Massively slowed down in the last few laps.
Robin go.
Let's try and see if we can look at the front wing.
A good one more look like Vale lifted off.
Look, the front wing is definitely damaged on that car.
Yeah, okay, that's not looking good. That's probably from the incident that we saw before in Parabolica. Robin.
Yeah.
Some GT3 traffic to deal with here. It's going to be a little bit frustrated with that.
Robin able to make his way past Juanto Ovale finally, but far too late to make any impression on the race lead. He's managing that gap to Yao Diaz behind at 6.8 seconds, so he'll be able to hold on to P2 in this race, which is what he needed to do.
Can we watch the final lap from Daniel Murphy maybe? It's 3/10 here between the two GTP drivers. Then Parabolica, I'm wondering if they have white flag now. I think this might be the final lap for the two. Well, we're gonna see it if they back off now, then they're done. Yeah, I think this is it. You are not gonna be swerving like that if you didn't just win a race. And he lifts off Daniel Murphy. So kept it interesting to the very end, but not interesting enough that Kasper Umelen didn't have time to celebrate before crossing the line.
Robin Duhamel is not giving up this fight. He wants to win on track, even if he doesn't win in the standings due to the 5-second penalty he's carrying. Can he make it work all the way around the outside of Parabolica? No, he can't. He's going to have to cut back into the slipstream and try and get a run onto start-finish. This could be a photo finish here, but it looks like he's not quite close enough to make it work. He stays behind as long as he can and pops out. It was close. 78 thousandths of a second at the line. Nearly made it work. That would have been very impressive.
Yeah, nice. Nice to see
This is a
Rob
battle
doing
as well. Quinton Verdonk on Marcel Roof. That's what this battle is. Who's going to be the winner as they come across the line? Marcel Roof holds the position.
But Alvaro lost almost 3.5 seconds in the final lap, so I think the two Acura drivers in the blue cars might have misjudged the fuel a little bit. A little hard to tell without the data, but yeah, doesn't really matter. At the end, if you win, then you win. And it's Alvaro Gutierrez who doesn't only take the win here, but most certainly also takes the lead in the GTPM class. From only 3 points separating you, yeah, points, and so currently P2 unless he. No, that doesn't matter. I was gonna say if he might have been able to battle that penalty he got in the end, but yeah, he's, as you can see, still ends up behind Alvaro Gutierrez, even though it's not that much. It's not even a tenth, but don't need to win by a lot. As long as you win by being ahead, then yeah, that's enough. Great race, really. It lived up to all expectations, even though we saw the gaps in the beginning, quite far ahead between all classes. Really, there's not really anyone in the front that was close enough. You see a little bit here, the GTP Pro class. Matthias Weiden, 4.5 seconds in front of Blasch. Someone that doesn't show up is Jean-Paul, who I could imagine is not going to sleep very well tonight. He had it all in his hands, and then he sped a little bit in the pit lane and lost not only the race, but I find it quite difficult to see how he's gonna bounce back in the championship as well from this one. It didn't have it's not that close. I'm trying to look at the standings here for GTP
About 70
Pro.
points off the lead, so
Yeah,
that's going to hit him
points,
quite big. Yeah.
Yeah, he has to win and have a great qualifying session. We know he's capable of doing that, but at the same time, he needs Blasch to have a bad race, and he needs Matthias Weiden to have an even worse race. So yeah, I think that it's a lot of steins that have to align for Jean-Paul for that to happen. But it's not done.
Yeah, it's not over.
Only decided when the checkered flag falls at Daytona for the final time this season.
Yeah, it's not over till it's over. Like you say, we're going to be coming back next week for a race in Daytona. We're going to be launching season 6 just now as well. We had a little bit of a briefing about that in the warm-up. The link is in the description. We're going to be going, it's a great calendar we've got for next season. You can find it on the website. I'll run you through what we've got briefly. And we're going to be starting the season with something a little bit different. We're going to be going to a Red Bull Ring, not Race Air, for a couple of seasons. Sorry, I've got that completely wrong. No, I haven't. We're starting at the Red Bull Ring. We're having a break week as the first week of the season so that everybody can take part in these 6 hours of Watkins Glen, followed by Barcelona, Interlagos, then a double break week for several holidays lining up for the ASR team, and then the 24 hours of Spa. Then we're going to go 3 in a row. The Nürburgring GP layout, Road America, Belle Isle at Detroit, a classic track that we had great fun at last time we raced there in the sports car series. Break week then after that, and then we're going to round off the season with a double header at Portimao, and then followed up by a true sports car racing classic track at the Circuit de la Sarthe, more commonly known as Le Mans. So it's going to be a great season. We're going to bring some of the podium sitters and race winners in from today's race to join us in the booth. First, we're going to go to Mateus, overall winner. At one point, there was a risk of you not even taking part in this race. You got disqualified in practice for rolling back on track, but fortunately, we're able to take part in the rest of the session and managed to win. How was that race for you?
Yeah, it was really sweaty in the practice when we get the DSQ, but luckily it went all well. Yeah, the race went great. Start was good. was able to create a gap with the guys behind me. Yeah, and create a gap with Jean-Paul. Yeah, I have to thank him to gift it this win. He speeded in the pits, which gave me a freebie. Yeah, and win the race eventually.
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, Jean Paul had a nice gap there. It's not the most dominant of the races we've seen from you. You've had some races where it's been almost over in the first lap. Of course, 4.5 seconds here at the end. It's not like Blash was close enough in your view mirrors before I could imagine you started sweating. But I could imagine that you had a bit of a call with Jean Paul. Was he annoyed there at the end when he sped in the pit lane?
Yeah, he swears some words I cannot pronounce right now. Yeah, he really throwed away the win. So yeah, that's a bummer for him. Yeah, luckily for me, but yeah, he should win this race because his pace was really mega this time.
Yeah, I've almost called him out of the championship league. Of course, it's not over before it's over, but you seem to have a pretty clean battle at the end at the tournament with Blash. How are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, my chances are really low, to be really. This season isn't really going my way. Got much bad luck with traffic. Got killed a couple of times. I made a couple of mistakes from my side. So I really left some points on the table. Which should be difficult for me. Yeah, to win this championship in the last round. I really need Balas to have a really bad race, I think, to create an opportunity for me to win this championship. But yeah, the only thing I can do is try the same thing I did today, and gain so much points as possible, and then we shall see what will happen.
Yeah, I've seen larger miracles happen than you winning championship at Daytona. I think we'll go on then. Next class GTP AM then.
Alvaro, that was a pretty crazy race in the pack there amongst the GTP AM leaders, and then mixed in a lot with a lot of the GTP Pro drivers towards the back of the field. That was pretty crazy. Did you know that the driver you were fighting for the lead and the lead in the championship had a 5-second penalty, or was that not really in your mind the whole time?
Yeah, I did, but since he was faster, especially in the straights, I think in the overall lap time we were pretty similar, but in the one fighting, he was way faster than us because we had the maximum downforce, because we expected much more track temperature. And yeah, I tried to hold him up as much as I could because I knew that he could pull away. And then, I tried to manage the gap. He was even, I think, at one point slightly above 4 seconds ahead of me. So I honestly thought that he was going to get it. But then the traffic, the pack, the fights, the pro guys coming from behind helped me a lot. And then, the last lap was also crazy. But I lost like 5 or 6 seconds due to traffic. But yeah, a very, very crazy race.
I gotta have to ask about the final lap, because you were leading by, as you say, almost 4 seconds. Was it just pure traffic that that made it come down to, or was it the 78 thousandths of a second at the end?
Yeah, I had one car, one GT in the second chicane, one in the Lesmos. Also, Jean-Paul, I don't know, I don't understand why, but he sent it in the Lesmo 2, and he almost made pulled me out of the track. And then we had another GT in the Ascari chicane, and then Robin came like a rocket in the straight, and I really had to defend. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, well, a win is a win. I think should we go on to a final interview here? Kasper Umelen. Then try and get standings here on the screen as well.
I believe you had to fight for that one, Casper, perhaps a little bit more than you have at some races this season, with Daniel so close and Matteo obviously new to the championship, not that far behind as well.
Yeah, I was surprised with this pace, and also it was probably the most exciting race of the season so far. So it was really fun to participate as well. And to be honest, on pure pace, I wasn't expecting to be winning, but I was just fighting for a decent result. But happy to be back to win another race.
Absolutely. What are you thinking? What's the mindset going into the final round going at Daytona next week?
Pretty relaxed, to be honest. I think I already got the championship, so I'll just try to enjoy the race, and then maybe have some clean battles with Daniel or someone else, and just see it from there.
Okay, well, hopefully we're going to be crowning you champion. And next week, I think you might be right. We'll get our resident statman, Andy Tapman, to run the numbers for us before next week, so we can give everybody an accurate update before the race next season. Thanks, Casper, for joining us in the commentary booth. We're going to have to wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody that joined us for the live stream, and anybody that raced in the event today. You can see the results on the website shortly. Anybody that's in the Discord will be able to see the post-race PDF that's been published in the information channel, or the announcements channel, I believe, actually, for the IMSA Series 5. IMSA Series 6 is now live. You can see the link in the description where you can gain your entries for next season, and you can see the calendar as well that we went through at the end of the race. It's a great calendar. Really looking forward to broadcasting all of those events as well. So first of all, thank you everybody that joined us today to watch. Thank you everybody that drove in the race. Like Casper said, it was probably the most exciting race we've had all season, with some great battling, and we'll see you all next week in Daytona.